first question I have for you, my brother, is that can you blame white people for the condition that we are in, or do you blame yourself, our people?
You actually asked me two questions. I'm answering both of them.
Right.
I can't blame them. I can't blame them. However, I choose to blame myself. I'm answering your question. I can't blame them. And I want to talk to you about layers of consciousness. And I'm gonna build with you about your two-part question.
Yes, sir.
Can I blame the white man? Yes, I can. If I blame the white man for our disposition, would I be wrong? No, I would not. If I choose to blame the white man for our disposition, I would be absolutely right. This is true. I choose not to blame the white man for our disposition. I choose to hold myself accountable for the position that we are in today. Am I right for that? I'm equally right for that. Now, Dr. Sebi once said, he went to court, they said, we incarcerated you because you say you have the cure for AIDS. He said that they then went on to ask, the judge asked them, do you have the cure for AIDS? You know what Dr. Sebi said? He said, they asked them, is there a cure for AIDS? You know what Dr. Sebi said?
What?
No, there is not. They said, hold on, you're supposed to be defending yourself. You said in the publication that was put out, which incurred this incarceration, 1984, New York State, which incurred this incarceration, you said that you had the cure for AIDS. Now you come to this court, you say, there's no cure. He says, if you say there's no cure, then evidently there must not be. Now I'm gonna take that same scenario and I'm gonna bring it to present day. And I'm going to tell you, if you believe that there is no cure for a disease that has been incurred, then how possibly could you possibly relieve yourself of that scenario situation? How can you remedy a situation that you feel inevitably has no resolve? You understand what I'm saying? So, if someone tells me, my brother, the reason why life is the way it is today is because of the white man, and they equally tell me that we created the pyramids, we are the fathers and mothers of math and science. We are even God. We are God's children. We are from outer space. Everybody else is here. There's many different renditions to our greatness. Our melanin is reflective or reminiscent to that of what they call dark matter. Our melanin is full spectrum light solidified. It makes us conscious. It makes us superior. We have dominion over the whole planet Earth. Then I now have to ask, which one is it going to be? Is it the white man is the reason why we're here today? Or is it the fact that we as a people fell asleep, we've compromised the momentum and the integrity of our mission, and maybe even supplanted some of our higher resolve for a lesser resolve and laziness? Whatever the case is, we can't pick both. We can't be the most domineering, dominant species on planet Earth responsible for the pyramids. Almost all the pyramids of planet Earth rest on the 32-degree line of latitude called the Tropic of Cancer. We know that's not by mere chance. Whoever created that was very sophisticated. We say it's us. We say we're the founders of this knowledge. Okay, when we go to the Dogons, we understand that the Dogons know about Sirius B and Sirius A, and they call them Botolo and Digitaria. And they did this purportedly without the technology of today. When we go to ancient Sumer, we learned that they knew the size of the planets in respect to what direction they were and how their evolution goes by from one year to the next. And they even knew the colors that it was reflecting. And we say these people are us too. So with all this high knowledge and how superior we are as a people, you then propose to me that the reason why we're in a situation that is tough, the reason why we're subject to the stark reality, is because someone that is inferior, that is recessive, that is a mutant, that is hybrid, that is the devil, and you call me God or God's children, you tell me that I cannot transcend his rationale. Are you telling me to supplant my divinity and give it to him and make him the master of my destiny? He is not the master of my destiny. I choose what I want to eat when I eat it. I choose to homeschool my children. Now, I'm going to tell you something. There's different layers of consciousness. So, when I was gangbanging and selling drugs, the white man may have been the reason why I was in this situation. Because that was my level of consciousness at that time. I am way too intelligent and way too cognizant of what is transpiring now, and on account to my information, on account to what I have accumulated or downloaded from the heavens, and at this present moment in time, I would not be able to get away with passing the buck. There's an old saying that your generation taught me. It was, God looks out for fools and babies. You ever heard that before? Mm-hmm. God looks out for fools and babies. I'm neither a baby nor am I a fool. You understand? So I've empowered myself at this particular moment in time. So with different layers of consciousness, I can sit here and look at the world today and say that it was the slave trade. It was Mr. John Hawkins. I can look at Willie Lynch in the 1712 speech on the Jamestown River. I can look at all these different dynamics and say, yes, we have arrived here this day at this point in time because of the white man. But then I can also go to Egypt, and more especially pre-dynastic Egypt that they don't want to teach you about. We always get into the dynastic era. I can look into pre-dynastic Egypt and all those other eras and say, what is it that black people did to allow people to come in? Because we already had a civilization. Yeah. Now we can get mad at the invaders, or we can say we allowed them to invade. Which one are we going to suggest? So at this particular moment in time, because of my level of consciousness, I don't believe if I confide in the reality that the white man is the reason why we're here today, that we will find resolve. I believe that if I get around a group of brothers and sisters that are responsible, if I were to talk to them and confide in them and they confide in me about how to get out the situation, I figure we have a better opportunity to get out the situation if we empowered each other and charged each other to come up with resolve. And when I say the white man's the reason why we got into the situation, I have to petition to him to let go of his hold on us. When I say that we have the power to get us out the situation, I figure we have the resolve, we have the momentum, we have the integrity, we have the esteem, we have put everything back into our hands to get out of this. So irregardless of how big his weapons are, how big his tanks are, if y'all really say y'all do believe in God, for those of you that believe in God, if y'all really do say you are God, for those of you that say you God, if y'all really do say that you are superhuman and you have an electromagnetic computer called the brain, and that you are superior because you're a melanite being, for those of you that make this charge, you couldn't possibly tell me right after that the reason why we're here, subject to destitution, subject to dilapidated schools, okay, and extreme poverty, our women in shelters, our gangbangers engaging in a fratricidal war against each other, you couldn't possibly tell me that this is the workings of the inferior white man. You couldn't tell me that and have me take you serious on this layer of consciousness. But I'm not mad at anybody who accepts the white man for putting us in this position, because I understand that level of consciousness. Well, understand I'm on a different level, and I'm not talking condescending. I'm saying I'm just on a different level. They all could be on the same level for all I care, but I'm at a different interval in consciousness. Beautiful. Not to belittle anybody or to speak condescending.
Beautiful, brother. Let me ask you, can the black race truly be sovereign while white supremacy exists, brother?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And just the question in itself gives away our power. Okay. Well, we have to second guess, can we be sovereign? How powerful is the white man? I'm not going to allow nobody to tell me that the white man is more powerful than my creators. No one can get that from me. I'm not relenting from this. As far as
Let me ask you the question
Go ahead,
again.
my brother. Go ahead.
Can the black race be sovereign?
Yes, they can.
While white supremacy exists, because we know that white supremacy destroys anything that gets in its path. That's what white supremacy is about.
I'm gonna speak to you again about white supremacy.
Power and black power cannot occupy the same space at the same time, brother.
I don't even know what white power is when you're talking about it in regards to the other race.
You might not know what it is,
I don't
believe me,
we on a different level of consciousness.
They know what it is.
We on a different level of consciousness. I haven't a clue what you're talking about. When you talk, I live in a black world. I'm a black man. I'm not a white man. You know, maybe in the white man's mind and conditioning, when Superman comes out, I can confide in white power after I watch a Superman movie. But I don't live in that world. My superheroes is Malcolm X. My superheroes are Dr. York. My superheroes are the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. My superheroes are Dr. Sabi. My superhero, okay, is Queen of Four. I had the crown Supreme Grand Womb Maven. Okay, my superhero is Sojourner Truth. My superheroes are Harriet Tubman. I'm from a generation with all the stress incurred. It suffices to say that anything that goes wrong, it must be this goddamn cracker. That is the summation you have to make, because you've seen so much and bear witness to it with your own eyes. You're dealing from a post-traumatic experience of the white race. My generation can only read and study as much as you know personally. So we can never feel the same thing, will never resonate in us the same exact way it does with y'all. In my generation, The gang member that looks like me is my hell. The black woman might be my hell. The drugs I use might be my hell. The rap music might be my hell. It's black people when I go on the DMV line might be my hell. When I go to the supermarket, may give me an attitude, might be my hell. When I go to social security office, give me help for no reason. White people, hey, how you doing today? Black people, what you want? So in my generation, I'm not saying that it's safe to conclude that all black people have an attitude. I'm telling you, in my generation, you have to understand the demographics today. Now, if I study history from Khalid Muhammad's times and prior, I will generate a different conclusion. If I deal with my own personal experience, I have to be fair and say I could never relate to most of the things that I read about that y'all tell me about. So now this is y'all conflict. This is the quandary that we're in. Do we stick with what we know from experience as your generation, or do you try to relate to the youth, and when they tell you their problem is, I'm having a problem with women. The youth is constantly saying derogatory, inflammatory things about the black woman. They have a relationship problem at hand. The woman want to scratch his car and bust his windows. Listen to the music. All they are is bitches and hoes. Listen to the music. Yo, it's about getting this paper. I say, yo, talk about God. It's about getting this motherfucking paper, son. You can talk about God all you want. So what I'm saying is, do you stick with your experience and undermine and ignore what the youth is saying their problem is? Do you tell the youth over and over, your problem's not your problem. Your problem is white supremacy. Or do you sit down and say, you know what? We're in a different era, and the perspective, you can teach your people without imposing something on them.
But you help them to understand that their problem is also white supremacy.
That's absolutely.
You don't teach them that their problem is not white supremacy.
We're gonna give you right.
You got to let them know that white supremacy still exists.
I want you to hear how you're talking to me.
Yes, I hear what you're saying.
You don't tell them this. I do tell them what I want to tell them. This is the problem with the older generation, the younger. I'm telling you, it's about making money, and I'm having conflict with the black woman. And if my money making change, and the black woman learn to respect me, I'm gonna be happy. Listen to the music. All I hear is people having conflict with their significant other, and they are in distress because when they don't have the resources, they can't even get the healing that they need to buy the things that they need to cultivate their being like that. All I'm saying is this: I understand what y'all mean and what it represents when y'all say white supremacy. I don't see the white race as supreme in no fashion. If you cheat to get where you are at, you couldn't possibly be as supreme as I thought. If you cheat me out of a position, all you are doing is reconfirming to me how great I am. If you work very hard to indoctrinate me, to make me think other than I would naturally think.
But listen, you will be debating the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad when Malik steps up in that ring. I want you to know that.
Oh,
and you know Khalid, I know that spirit is going to just take over his body.
Listen, Malik can work up a sweat, take the back of his forehead and do this in the middle of him saying something. When he goes black power and they go black power, he can do all of that. But Malik has to remember, this is going to be recorded. And after your supporting group, your supporting cast show up and embrace you, the DVDs are going to be bootlegged, and the truth is going to be out. And the young phenom shall prevail again. You know what I'm saying? So that's my brother, and I love him. And as far as Khalid Muhammad is concerned, as I told you before, I say it again, he is one of the most brilliant minds that the black community has ever been witness to. He's one of the most ferocious and warrior spirit beings I've ever seen in my life. And I personally believe, and this is not in regard to Malik Shabazz, I personally believe that the youth or the generations that grow up with these leaders, they have a tendency to take the more commercial things and commercial themes from these leaderships and not the fundamentals. Like, you watch basketball, right?
Yes.
So the Spurs is probably one of the most wackest teams you could ever watch. But because they stick with the fundamentals, they're a very good team.
Exactly.
Nobody really likes them because they're not that commercial.
Right.
But they give everyone a run for their money. They're older than everybody. They're doing a hell of a job. No, I'm messing with the heat on this because they took out my Knicks. But the point is this. The point is this. It's the fundamentals, brother. It is the fundamentals. So at the end of the day, when we look at Master or Dr. Khalid Muhammad's works, let's look at Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's work. Most of us heard about the gravitation story and Yaqub and all that. Mm-hmm. But the man had over 50 schools in America.
Yes, stores.
How many of us learned how to set up our own school after his legacy? Now, I'm gonna go forward. That man also had his own import and export with fish outside the country.
Yes.
How much of us learned how to do business on that scale, in that echelon? That man also had his own independent publication. That man had his own steakhouses. That man had his own farms. Now this is the question I have to ask you. When we got Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's doctrine, most of us were left with the Yaqub gravitation story, the black germ, brown germ, white man's the devil, but his business accolades we got none of. When we look at Dr. York, most of us is talking about man from Planet Risk. But this is a man that owned over 8 blocks, both sides of the street, had his own laundromat, had his own movie house, movie theater, had his own residencies for both sides of the street, 8 blocks down for everybody as part of his community, had his own lecture hall.
And white supremacy destroyed it.
Hold on now.
Hold up. And white supremacy destroyed it.
Keep me on track. Otherwise, I will take you off track.
All right,
keep me on track.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to finish my point. And this is what happens. And this is a prime example of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
We get the big picture, and then someone gives us the crumbs. Dr. York says this: don't overlook the loaf for some crumbs. You ever see pigeons? You could throw a whole damn loaf of bread here. Once their mind is on those crumbs, they don't give a hell about the bread. They fight for the crumbs. We are overlooking the loaf for some crumbs. I'm telling our people here that our leadership has brought what we need since the very beginning. But for some reason, we overlook the loaf for some crumbs. We look for the part of the doctrine that keeps us in argument. There's no part of what you say, what I say, what this brother say, what we be in conflict about if we talk about opening up schools like Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did. If we talk about erecting farms, if we talk about owning both sides of the street, creating our own movie theaters, having our own lecture halls, having our own pizza shop, having our own laundromat like Dr. York. And we would never argue. But what we would argue about is the mothership of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What we would argue about is Man from Planet Riz with Dr. York. But we disregard all their business accolades and we're just left with doctrine. Okay? And now, when you ask me about white supremacy taking it, white supremacy never took it. I've always seen what our ancestors do to us when we take their divinity for granted. When we start bickering amongst each other and fighting amongst each other, we can be used against ourselves, but still we must be used. You cannot take black people out of an equation when black people are already great. The only thing that can bring black people down is black people. We have to be.
Do you have to come out of this state of denial?
Do you understand?
Hold on.
Do you understand what it means to be used against yourself?
You have to come out of this state of denial.
It's not denial.
It was white power that destroyed.
It's black power.
That destroyed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
It was black power.
That destroyed Malcolm X.
It was the power of black people.
That destroyed
it was black
Marcus
power.
Garvey.
Black power.
And that destroyed.
I'm asking you a question.
Malachi York,
the first agent for the FBI was assigned to whose case? Marcus Garvey. What race was that first agent for the FBI? Black. I did it at the debate.
Black.
Hold on. I did it at the debate. I disclosed this information and everything. And what was my point? The white man knew he couldn't come in there and destroy and infiltrate.
Right.
He knew he had to invest in black power to come in there and infiltrate. And if we stay on our square, that would not happen. Now with Dr. York, hold on. You say that Dr. York, they took his land and everything. Do you understand that the feds had to study our nature for 10 years in the Nuwaubian community? Learn who didn't like who.
Just said that.
Learn who was bitter about what.
They did the same thing to the black man.
So the question is this: do we study the white man or do we study the black devil? Because it seems like the black devil plays a more...
Everything.
Hold on.
We're studying both.
We study everything. That's true. It seems like the black devil plays a more pivotal role in the declination and the compromising of our black community. Because when it comes down to it, white people don't say we coming in there and we just taking your land. You know what they do? We're going to have to study them and... Hold on, brother. We're going to have to study them and build a case for 10 years.
Yes.
And find out about these black people and see if we can get them to trust us and be so bitter. It was black people that was used against this black man. It was not white people. They used black power. They used the persuasion of black people. They used the black preacher to indoctrinate our people. They don't use the white preacher. They use the black preacher. And after the black teacher or preacher indoctrinate them, then they can go to the white man. But it's us that has to be used.
But he keeps saying they. Who is they?
They are black, white, Chinese, Hindu, and all.
No, we talking about the ones that's in power. We talking about the families that's running this
black
world.
people are empowered.
No, they ain't got no power.
Hold on.
Man. No.
So why are they praying to a black Madonna? What's that about? You don't think they respect and know who black people are?
It makes them feel good, man. It
Hold
makes
on.
them feel
It makes them
good.
feel good
Because
worshiping the
if
Black
you-
Madonna?
If you're looking at a black,
Talk about the Black Madonna.
a white Jesus
Actually
with
about the
blue
Black
eyes
Madonna.
and blonde hair, I understand that. But what I'm
No,
saying to
Let
you
him
is
go,
that,
let him go.
Let
I'm
him
coming to
answer
you.
it.
all right, let me answer this, brother.
The Black Madonna.
See, at the end of the day, when you have any confusion, when you have any chaos that's in our community,
Yes, brother.
you know what I'm saying? That's coming and being generated from white supremacy. White people that
It's
do
generated by
not
black
want.
people.
Listen,
on, man.
I didn't interrupt you, brother.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
But I give you
know
the
what I'm
pass.
saying?
I apologize.
Thank you. Please. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Go ahead.
at the end of the day, this man must keep a program set up for us, man, because he knows how powerful you are, brother.
That's
you know what
right.
I'm saying? If he allowed a whole lot of them brothers to actually, you know what I'm saying, be motivated like you, I come out of Brownsville, the same place you come from.
You don't
know
think
what I'm
he's
saying?
studying
the
you
same
right now,
community, brother.
You don't
know what
think
I'm
he's
saying?
watching you right now,
I
Polight?
understand.
You studying me too. I write books.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, brother. See, now, I'm in there now. I'm active with the Crips. I'm active with the Bloods. I'm active with the Latin Kings. Active with the Dead Ties. I'm in the environment with these individuals. I talk about white supremacy. They understand exactly what I'm saying. When that rapper's out there calling a black woman a bitch, a hoe, you know what I'm saying, disrespecting the black woman.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I teach them that.